Okay, we got a few more answers as well. So we've got Sophia and Nicole are saying number 3 because it's facing the other way. Very good. So number 3 is facing to the left, while all the other P's are facing to the right. Great stuff. So Leon is also saying that number 2 has a different background. Very good. So number 2 is a white background, but 1, 3, and 4 all have a green background. Cara is just saying the same thing as well, that number 2 has a white background. Very good. Owen is saying number 3 has no 1 cent. Very good, Owen. So number 3 has no 1 cent there. So number 1 has 1 cent. Number 2 has 1 cent. Number 4 has 1 cent. But number 3 has no 1 cent. Very good. Great stuff. So if anybody else needs their name changed, let me know in the chat. What else have we got? We've got loads of answers coming in. Great stuff. Sam, you're saying because the pig is number 3 is facing the other way as well. Great stuff. Sophia and Nicole are saying that number 1 is the odd one out because it has no 2 cents. Very good. Great stuff. Neve's having a look now at odd and even amounts. So let me see. Number 1 is odd. Number 2 is odd. Number 4 is odd. But as Neve said, number 3 is the only one that has an even number. So it's 6. 6 is an even number, with 3, 5, and 5, they're all odd numbers. Great stuff. Perfect. Let me see. Nea, I'll change your name there now. And Neve, if you want to let me know what I should change the name to, I'll get that sorted. And then we'll move on to another Kahoot. Or sorry, not a Kahoot. We'll do a Kahoot later on. We're going to move on to another. Great stuff. Oh, perfect. Neve will change it to Eve and there now. Perfect. And I'll read through a few more. Okay, so we've got a few more different ones as well. 4 coins. 3 because it has 6. Oh yeah, so number 3 is the biggest amount. Very good. Whereas the rest of them are all smaller than that. And then great stuff. 3 is all even numbers in it. Very good, all even numbers. Okay, I'm going to move on to, let me see which one will we do. Let's have a go with this domino one here. So I'll just number them 1, 2, 3, and 4. So what do people see on these dominoes here? You can have a look at the dominoes themselves. You can have a look at the backgrounds. You can count the dots. There's loads you can see to help you find an odd one out in this one here. And then you can pop your answers in the chat. I think I've changed everyone's name who needs it, but if there's anyone I've missed, let me know again in the chat. So which one do you think is the odd one out of these? And just today, guys, is our last class. It'll be about 40, 45 minutes again. And we will do a Kahoot at the end to finish off the week. And our Kahoot this week is going to be on some subtraction. So we did addition yesterday. We did some adding. We're going to be doing some takeaway, some minus, or some subtraction today. So Katie is saying, it is Katie, isn't it? Because I remember the name had to be changed yesterday for one of you. But if it's Katie, Katie is saying that, and great stuff. Nessa and Rasa and Sophia and Nicole, everyone's saying that great. 3 is the odd one out because it is facing a different direction to the other 3. And as Sophia and Nicole said, it is portrait, so it's going up, or you can also say it's vertical, so it's going up and down, whereas the rest are horizontal or they're on their sides, whichever way you want to say it. So very good. Number 3 is the first one we can see as the odd one out. Owen is saying that number 3 is the highest number of dots. Very good. So Owen's having a look at the dots. Very good, Owen. And Alan is saying 3 because, oh yeah, so number 3, because it's the only one that has the same number on both sides of the domino. Very good. Sam is really digging into it now because he's saying that number 2 is not divisible by 3. So let's have a look. So number 1 adds up to 9. You can divide that by 3. Number 2 adds to 5, which you can't divide by 3. Number 3 adds up to 12, which you can divide by 3. And 4 adds up to 6, which you can divide by 3. So really well spotted there, Sam. Number 2 can't be divided by 3. Great stuff, Naya, saying that number 3 has the biggest number. Leon is saying number 2 because of the background. Super. Owen is saying number 3 is the only even number. So there is stuff to do with odd and even numbers, but if you see, Owen, that number 4 actually adds up to an even number as well. But it's the only one with 2 even numbers. Good stuff. Good stuff, Ada. Good stuff, Richard. Great stuff. Okay. 30 more seconds, then we'll move on from this one. And we'll move on to some subtraction. And we'll do another one of these to break up our subtraction in a while. Another one that you might notice is if I say the number 6, there's one of them that's the odd one out because of the number 6. Can anybody see it? So it's the number 6 will make one of these the odd one out. Let's see if anybody can find what I'm talking about. So only one of them, it can't be 2 of them, but one of them is the odd one out because of the number 6. Let's see. Great stuff. Ivan is the first person I can see with that. So she said that number 2 does not add up to or have 6 in it, which is exactly what I was looking for. So there's other options too, but that was what I was thinking of. So number 1 has a 6 in it. Number 3 has 2 6s in it. And number 4 adds up to 6. But number 2 does not have or add up to a 6. So that's exactly what I was thinking. Great stuff, Eve, and super work. Okay, we will move on now to some subtraction questions. So, with our subtraction questions, I'm going to start off here with this number 1. I want you guys to write them on top of each other like this. We're going to do some subtractions to start off with hundreds, but we'll work our way up. So take your time with these, do it line by line, very similar to the addition we were doing yesterday. And I'm just going to do question 1. Actually, I'm going to do a different question. I'm just going to do a sample question. So I'm going to say 428 minus 255. So I'm just taking it one column at a time. So 8 minus 5 is 3. 2 minus 5, I can't do. The way I say it, guys, is there's more on the floor. You have to go next door. Some people say it a different way, but that's the way I like to say it. More on the floor, go next door. So 2 minus 5, you can't do. So you cross out your 4, and it becomes a 3. You put your 1 up here. You've got 12 then, minus 5, which is 7. 3 minus 2 is 1. So 173 is our answer there. Now, that's just the first one I wanted to show you guys. Now, give these 2 questions a go. If you're finding them hard, just concentrate on question 1 first. And when you're finished, do let me know. So you can put in the answers. You can say number 1 and the answer, and number 2 and the answer. If you're finding them tricky, do let me know. Or if you have any questions about what I did there in the sample question or anything like that, do let me know. Great stuff. We've got answers coming in the chat. Super work. Great stuff, Isabel. Great stuff, Naya. Great stuff, Nessa. Let's see your answers coming in. Leon, great stuff. Alana, Sam, Leon, Vivian, great stuff. Loads of answers coming in. Sophia and Nicole, great stuff. Okay, I'm going to put up the answer for question 1 now. So just check it off against the answer you got. Looks like a lot of people are getting them right, but if you didn't get them right, don't worry at all. We're just trying our best. We're just easing ourselves into the lesson today. So 4 minus 3 is 1. 2 minus 1 is 1. And then 5 minus 1 is 4. So 411 is the answer to question 1. Then I'm going to move on to question 2 now. And we've got 2 minus 1 is 1. Then we've got 2 minus 3. More on the floor, we need to go next door. So I cross out my 8 and it becomes a 7. Then I bring back my 1. So I've got 12 minus 3. 12 minus 3 equals 9. And 7 minus 5 equals 2. So 291 is the answer for question 2. 411 is the answer for question 1. Does anybody have any questions on those? I can see that a lot of people did really well there. Great stuff. But if you do have any questions, do let me know. And I'll help you out. I'll help you get the next one. Just leave it a second to see if anyone has any questions. There's plenty of emojis flying around in the chat. I'll have to look between the emojis to see any questions. No problem if you're feeling a bit stuck, Vivian. Is there any part in particular? Is it the more on the floor, go next door part? That's part sometimes people find tricky. Or is there any part in particular that you're finding a bit tricky? Another thing, practice always helps with these as well. So as we do them, you might find you're getting the hang of them even more. What I'll do is I will show the next questions. And so anybody who wants to have a look at, give them a go, you can give them a go now. So just question 3. This question here, question 3. And if anybody's feeling stuck, let me know which part you're feeling stuck on. The more on the floor go next door, the borrowing from your neighbor can be tricky. Okay, so perfect. So while people are doing question 3, just above question 3, I'm going to show, let me move question 4 out of the way. I don't want people moving into that yet. Okay, so I'm just going to show what you do if you're doing a sum and you can't take from the number on the top. So if I've got 12, I'm going to take nice and small numbers here. 12 minus 9. I know you could probably do this in your head, but I just want to show you how to do this one if you're finding it a bit tricky. So we've got 2 minus 1. And the rule I like to use is if there's more on the floor, what that means is if there's more at the bottom. So 9 is bigger than 2. So here we've got more on the floor. So we need to go next door. Next door means up by the 2, we go over to our 1. We need to borrow from our neighbor. So we cross out that 1 and it becomes a 0. You take 1 away from it and you bring back a 1 to the 12 here. So now you've got 12 minus 9. So you just do that. You bring the 1 over. Now it's 12. 12 minus 9 equals 3. Okay, super stuff. I'll do another example in a second, but right now I'm just going to write down the answer to question 3. So 8 minus 3 is 5. 6 minus 5 is 1. 7 minus 3 is 4. And 9 minus 5 is 4. So 4,415 is the answer there. So just have a look. If you just made a small mistake, like for example, you took 8, take 3, and you accidentally wrote 4, don't worry about that. The main thing is that you just understand how to get the answer. If you just made a small little subtraction mistake, don't worry about that. Those things happen. Okay. So that's the answer for question 3. Here is the question 4 now. So give that a go. Question 4. You have to do some borrowing from your neighbor in this one. So take your time with it. This one is going to be a bit trickier, but take your time with it. Then we'll go through the answers and we'll move on to some more questions. Let me know if you're feeling stuck on any of it, and let me know specifically what part you're feeling stuck on. Then I'll be able to help you out. Hello, Thomas. How are you today? Great stuff. Keep it going, guys. Feeling stuck on the borrow, no problem. So this question is going to be a really good way to show how you do the borrowing from next door. And what I'll do for anybody who's feeling stuck at the start is I'll help you out. Just to give you a start. Sometimes we just need a little help at the start and we'll be able to do the rest. So 3 minus 8. 3 minus 8. There's more on the floor, so we need to go next door. What that means is the 8 is bigger than the 3. So just think about it. 8 is bigger than 3. So we can't take 8 away from 3 because 3 is too small. So what you do is you go next to the 3 and you cross out this 2 here. And that 2 becomes a 1. Because when you cross it out, you're basically taking 1 away from the 2 and you're giving the 1 over here to your 3. So then it becomes 13. And then you've got 13 minus 8, which equals 5. 13 minus 8 equals 5. Okay. If you're feeling a bit stuck, have a look at that now and ask any questions you'd like to ask on what I just did there. If you're feeling okay, you can keep working on. Thomas, you're saying you have some technical issues. So this works a bit differently to the classes, Thomas. So this one, I can't see you or hear you, but I can see the chat, okay? So I can see the chat. That's the main thing. So I can see any questions you put in the chat. And that's the best way to communicate with me. Great stuff. So I can still see any messages you put in the chat, and you should still be able to hear me and see my screen. Good stuff. Okay. If anybody has any questions, what I just did in question 4, let me know. And I will keep going on question 4. So now we've got 1 minus 7. 1 minus 7. We can't do that. Can anybody tell me, explain in your own words, why I can't do 1 minus 7 here in this column? We've got 1 here, and we've got a 7. And I want you to explain to me, why can't I do that? What do I need to, why can't I do that? Let me know. So when I see a few people say in the chat, then I'll move on. Great stuff, Sam. So Sam is saying that 7 is bigger than 1. So the number on the bottom is bigger than 1. So that means that we need to help the 1 out. We need to make it a bit bigger. The way we're going to do that is we're going to go next door. We're going to cross out this 6. Take 1 away from it. 6 minus 1 is 5. We bring a 1 back over here to this one. So now we've got 11 minus 7. Good stuff, Vivian. You've got Anne helping you out. Great stuff. So 11 minus 7. So 11 minus 7 equals 4. Then we've got 5 minus 5 is 0. And as Alana said it as well, she said, there's more on the floor. So that means you go next door. That's a little rhyme for it. Then we've got 9 minus 4, which is 5. So 5,045 is the answer there. Great stuff. Don't worry if you're still finding it a bit tricky. They are a bit tough if you haven't done a lot of them before. But what we're going to do now is, let me see. Okay. No, I won't do that question yet. We're going to do that question in a second. A bit trickier. The Pokemon question. I want to do one more of these. So I'm going to, write down the question here. It's going to be question 6. Actually, question 6 and question 7. Question 6 is going to be 319 minus 184. Question 6. Question 7 is going to be 4,621 minus 2,363. There we go. There's our 2 questions. Subtraction, both of them are subtraction. Great stuff. Good man, Sam. Your phrase is nearly better than the one I've been saying. So go next door and get 10 more. So it's not just getting 1 more, it's getting 10 more. Great stuff. So we'll be doing the Kahoot probably after these 2 questions, to be honest. If we have time, we might do 1 more question. At most, we'll do 3 more questions, but we might just do 2 more. We'll see. Great stuff, Owen. Great stuff, Nessa. Good stuff, Alana. Good to have you back, Richard. Good stuff, Isabel. Good stuff, Sophie and Nicole. Good stuff, Sam. Good stuff, Vivian. So Anne is saying another way to say it is to go next door and borrow some more. Very good. So it's all about borrowing from our neighbor, whether you want to say get some more, borrow 10 more, whichever way you want to say it. But the main thing is that you're borrowing. Good stuff there. Nia, just your units. Just have another look at your units column for that one. You're nearly there. Katie, just for your question, I'll write columns on top. So we have hundreds, tens, and units. For your tens column, Katie, just remember that there's more on the floor. So you actually need to borrow from next door. So the 8 is bigger than the 1. So you need to borrow something from the 3 there. Great stuff. Great stuff, Sam, Owen, Nessa, Leah, Isabel, Alana. Great stuff. Okay, so I'm just going to show you how to answer question 6 now. So you've got 9 minus 4, that's fine. 9 minus 4 equals 5. Now, in the tens column, this is where we need to do a bit of borrowing from next door. So 1 minus 8. 8 is bigger than 1. So we've got more on the floor. So we need to go next door over to the tree and borrow 10 more. So now that 1 becomes an 11. So 1 becomes an 11. And then when we cross out our 3, we're taking 1 away from it, so it becomes a 2. So now we've got 11 minus 8. So 11 minus 8 equals 3. And 2 minus 1 equals 1. Great stuff. 135 is the answer for question 6. If you have any questions on question 6, let me know. Now we're on to question 7, our second last question of the day, before we move on to our Kahoot. So keep going, guys. Keep pushing. So we've got 1 minus 3. So we have more on the floor. We need to go next door. Cross out your 2, comes a 1. Then we've got 11 when we get 10 more. So 11 minus 3 is 8. Then we've got 1 minus 6. So once again, we've more on the floor. We need to go next door again. So we're going to cross that out. That's 6, and it becomes a 5. So we've got 11 minus 6 equals 5. Then we've got 5 minus 3 equals 2. 4 minus 2 equals 2. So our answer there, 2,258. If you just made a small mistake, don't worry about it. But if you do have any questions on those, let me know. There's one other type of question I'd like to look at before we move on to our Kahoot. I'm going to do one example of it, and then I'm going to show you that Pokemon question that I skipped over a second ago. So if we have 600 here, and we're going to take away 23 from it. We actually did a question like this yesterday. So 0 minus 3, there's more on the floor, so I need to go next door. But next door is also a 0. So when we do 0 minus 3 in the units column, we need to go next door, but next door is also a 0. So we need to go all the way down to our hundredths column to our 6, and we need to bring something back for our neighbors. So we cross out the 6, and it becomes a 5. Then we bring 1 next door, and it becomes a 10. But doesn't stop there. We have to cross out this 10, and that becomes a 9, because we need to give 1 next door down in our units. So now we've got 10 minus 3, that equals 7. 9 minus 2, that equals 7. And then 5 minus 0 is 5. So 577 is our answer there. Now that is tricky, guys. If you have not done those before, that is definitely tricky. So I'm going to move that one up here. I want to leave it as an example. Okay, can I put it in there? It's 2 seconds now. Oh, I think it's not agreeing with me at all. I just want to leave it as an example on the side so that you can look at it. Put that over there. Okay. So the example I just did there is on the side. And I want you to try this question now. So if I had 700 Pokemon cards and I give my sister 23 of them to start our collection, how many do I have left? I don't know if anybody has collected Pokemon cards before, but if you have, you might have had 700 yourself. So 700 minus 23 is the question here. Great stuff. Alana says she's collected them before, or she still does collect them maybe. And Sam says he loves Pokemon too. So 700 minus 23. Give that a go, guys. And when we're finished, we'll move on to our Kahoot. $700 minus 23. Give it your best shot. I know it's tricky. So you need to borrow from next door. And after this, we'll move on to our Kahoot and see who's going to be our final champion of the week. You'll have to remind me, guys, who won yesterday's as well. I can't remember. Okay. If you're not finished it yet, don't worry. I'm going to run through the answer now. So 0 minus 3 we can't do. But we also can't borrow from our neighbor because our neighbor is also a 0. So we have to go all the way down to 7. Cross that out and it becomes a 6. And we bring 1 next door. So now that's a 10. But we still need to bring something back to our first 0. So when we cross that out, it becomes a 9. And then we have a 10 here. 10 minus 3, equals 7. 9 minus 2 equals 7. Oops, making a mess of that 7. And then 6 minus 0 equals 6. 677 is the answer for that one there. If you have a question, let me know now. If you made a mistake, please don't worry about it at all, especially if you have not done a lot of these before. But if you got it right, well done. Yes, it was Sophia and Nicole won yesterday's Kahoot. They were yesterday's champions. Vivian came 5th. Good stuff. Let's see who's going to be on the podium today. Okay, we're going to move on to our Kahoot now.